are coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios in the heart of Johannesburg. This is Prime News on SABC 3, and here's what's dominating in your leads at this hour. First up, former IDEC head Advocate Andrea Johnson's resignation did not stop the show at the Madlanga Commission. The Judicial Service Commission has advised President Cyril Ramaphosa to suspend Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge, pending Parliament's decision on whether he should be removed from office. And the Gauteng Department of Education has announced that online admissions for Grade 1 and Grade 8 learners will open from the 5th of August to the 4th of September. It is the start of yet another week in the month of July, and you are watching Prime News on SABC 3. Good evening and welcome to it. My name is Beki Mutumomolete, and your sign language interpreter with me in studio today is Sinovuyo Fihlani. Let us get into the business of what is making your world spin today. And with that said, here are your leads. We launch with this. Former IDEC head Advocate Andrea Johnson's resignation did not stop the show at the Madlanga Commission today. Johnson continued to face questions over conduct at IDEC that allegedly took place under her watch. This includes Chief IDEC investigator Dylan Perumal's commissioning of Adil Adams' statement, which is being challenged by two witnesses who will testify before the probe.
Former IDEC head Advocate Andrea Johnson may have closed the chapter on her over 3 decades of service in public office today, but the accountability process on allegations surrounding IDEC's handling of cases involving crime intelligence continued. Johnson was put to the test on the cases versus the evidence or lack thereof to support such.
My question to you was, what would your advice to the commissioners be as regards how they view this Section 28 summons in circumstances where all the documents that you have listed, we have just discussed, do not factually or legally support this Section 28? What would your advice to them be?
Then the investigation is problematic.
As this theme persisted, the Commission played 2 recordings from what would be witnesses before the probe, who will testify that they have no knowledge of the statements commissioned by Chief IDEC investigator Dylan Perumal from Adil Adams on the 6th of January, raising questions.
They deny any knowledge of those statements as commissioned by Mr. Perumal, and their testimony will be that whenever it is Mr. Perumal took those statements from Mr. Adams and commissioned them, it definitely is not on the 6th of January 2025 because they were together at all times.
This evidence now delves into the realm of allegedly serious misconduct and illegality. This as it raises the question, are the IDEC dockets before the court the ones alleged to be manufactured by Perumal?
In the docket and in the various documents that were given to the court, what was disclosed? Is what was disclosed what we now know as the doctored A1, or is it the correct supplementary?
So far we have the Mukwele docket that we have worked through. It is what the commissioner calls the doctored A1. That's the A1 in the Mukwele docket.
I mean, that is serious misconduct. It's serious misconduct.
The hearings continue. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Pretoria.
The National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Andy Mutibi, has directed that corruption charges against SAP's crime intelligence head, Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo, and 7 co-accused be withdrawn before plea. The decision follows representations by the accused and advice from the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, which says its investigation is not yet complete. The NPA says that the withdrawal is not a final decision on the merits of the case, and investigations will continue. It adds that the matter may only be re-enrolled with the written approval of the National Director after the investigation is finalized and the accused are afforded a further opportunity to make representations. Next up, the Judicial Service Commission has urged President Cyril Ramaphosa to suspend Eastern Cape Judge President Selbin Mbenenge, pending Parliament's decision on whether he should be removed from office. The JSC made a finding that Mbenenge committed gross misconduct in a sexual harassment case involving Judge's secretary Andisa Mengo. Mengo accused Mbenenge of sexually harassing her through a series of personal interactions and electronic communications between June 2021 and November 2022. Judges Matter researcher Mbegezeli Benjamin says that the JSC's decision is in line with the need to safeguard the credibility of the judicial system following.
The JSC has suspended them. In fact, in one case, I think in the case of Judge Parker, he was on medical leave when they decided to suspend him. So that has almost been standard procedure, that when you recommend a tribunal, you recommend the suspension at the same time. With Judge Mbenenge, they accepted that he was on special leave, and so they decided against the suspension. Now, one of the things that the complainant, Ms. Mengo, raised as a concern is that the special leave has no strict terms and conditions. He can decide any time to come back to work, and he can decide to be in the vicinity of the court at any time. And this is something that she alleges did happen. I don't know to what extent whether that is actually true, but she says that during the period in which he was supposed to be on special leave, he did in fact come to within the vicinity of the court. And so that is the problem that we had with the JSC not suspending Judge Mbenenge at the time, is that there were no clear principled terms and conditions that applied to him.
Some of the political parties in Parliament are warning against political influence in the appointment of the new Public Investment Corporation Board. This follows a statement by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana that he will be in consultation with the Cabinet to appoint a new board.
PIC is without a board. The state-owned asset manager that manages over 3 trillion in public assets saw an exodus of several board members, including its chairperson, Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. David Masondo. Political parties caution against political influence when new appointments are made.
We are looking forward to a more transparent process of appointing the PIC board, a process free from political manipulation and interference.
The DA says there should be a selection panel that will be tasked with electing suitable candidates and proposing them to the minister.
You need the PIC Act, and that's why the DA is proposing the Pension Protection Bill to depoliticize the board, to remove political appointments, and to ensure that appointments are all merit-based, and that the board has an independent chair who's not a deputy minister.
He wants board members that have experience on financial matters.
Must comprise strictly of independent financial experts with a proven track records in asset management, forensic accounting, fiduciary law, and corporate ethics.
I am Yamkelam Chiyo for SABC News in Parliament.
Next up, 11 people have been gunned down and several others wounded in overnight killings across Cape Town and Stellenbosch in Gugulethu, Manenberg and Kayamandi. Amongst those injured is an elderly woman in Manenberg and 2 police members in Kayamandi. More than 1,000 people have died in shooting incidents in the province since the beginning of the year.
Police officers responded to an initial report of a shooting in Kayamandi, while at the first scene, nearby gunfire was heard. As the police approached the area, they were met by armed suspects.
The suspects opened fire on the officers, who returned fire before the suspects fled. Detectives from the Provincial Serious and Violent Crime Unit are leading the investigation, while crime scene experts work through the night gathering evidence.
Police officers, as well as 2 members of the public, were injured and taken to hospital. In Gugulethu, 5 people between the ages of 19 and 23 lost their lives. The SABC says preliminary investigations indicate that 2 armed men forced their way into the house and demanded a firearm before opening fire on the occupants.
Members of the community with the police and saying, yes, there is a safety plan in Manenberg, but Is it working? Why is it not working? Which are the areas that we can sit together and work out something?
No arrests have been made yet. Mariska Botha, SABC News, Cape Town.
When we return, the Gauteng Department of Education has announced that online admissions for grade 1 and grade 8 learners will open from the 5th of August to the 4th of September. More on this after the break. Welcome back to Prime News on SABC 3. The Gauteng Department of Education has announced that online admissions for grade 1 and grade 8 learners will open from the 5th of August to the 4th of September. Parents and guardians will be able to apply for placement for the 2027 academic year. Gauteng Education MEC Lebogang Maile says that the department is committed to ensuring a fair and transparent admissions and a placement process.
Every application submitted by a parent contributes directly to government's planning for teacher provisioning, classroom allocation, learner transport, school nutrition, learner support material, furniture infrastructure development, and budget allocations. The integrity, accuracy, and timelines of every application therefore determine how effectively government responds to the growing demand for quality public education across Gauteng. Gauteng continues to accommodate the largest public education system in South Africa, serving more than 2.4 million learners across 2,111 public ordinary schools, comprising 1,417 primary schools and 694 secondary schools, including schools of specialization. Between 2025 and 2026 alone, learner enrollment increased by more than 23,000 learners, representing demand equivalent to approximately 19 additional schools, each capable of accommodating around 1,200 learners. These figures reflect the continued impact of rapid urbanization, population growth and migration into Gauteng, while highlighting the increasing pressure placed on education infrastructure and public resources.
Meanwhile, Limpopo's online learner registration system is now operational. Parents can apply from home, with the department saying it will simplify admissions, improve placement, and cut school queues.
That we are getting, but already from what the team is telling us,
education officials manning the online learner registration. It cost the department 14 million rand to develop the system. Parents and guardians have now started to register their children for placements online. Parents or guardians can access the platform with or without a smartphone.
When we started around 8 o'clock in the morning, the first glitch that we experienced was that the parents that were applying for the grade R, because of the confusion of the years between 6 years and 7 years, when a child is 6, where do they go? Do they go grade R or grade 1? And remember, the grades that you are applying for is grade R, grade 1, and grade 8.
Parents and guardians have been cautioned not to attach fake documents and addresses.
It will be to the disadvantage of the parent. One, if you put in a different address, you are going to get the schools where you don't stay. Remember, we are also going to trace parents by their ID numbers.
The online applications will close on the 31st of August. Parents and guardians will only know if their children have been successfully placed after the closing date. Vatseba Mavua, SABC News, Polokwane.
Truck drivers remain stranded in a massive traffic backlog on the N1 near Musina in Limpopo, following congestions at the Beitbridge border post. The trucks are transporting goods from South Africa to countries such as Zimbabwe, Malawi, Zambia, and the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Many truck drivers view the Beitbridge border post as a more convenient and shorter route to neighboring countries. They say they usually prefer it over the Groblersdrift border post between South Africa and Botswana.
The queue is not moving. I don't know what's happening there by border there, especially during the night. So this will take advantage of the truck driver there.
Some drivers say they should be allowed to cross over to Zimbabwe as their documents have already been processed at a nearby truck stop.
The main thing we are worried about is here in the queue, we are mixed with those with papers which are ready and those without papers. So we are wondering what could be happening down there what is happening, because we are not used to this.
The South African Revenue Service said it was engaging with its Zimbabwean counterpart to facilitate the movement of commercial traffic.
There is no challenges from a customs side and the South African side, including immigration. We are given to understand by our colleagues from the Zimbabwean side that they are facing major challenges. We are working with them to try and resolve those and ensure that all the trucks move across seamlessly across the borders from the South African side.
Some truckers are also worried about potentially missing out on goods delivery deadlines. Rutiano Bobodi, SABC News, Musina.
When we return, President Cyril Ramaphosa has challenged members of the Pan-African Parliament not to shy away from discussing the issue of migration. Do stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. President Cyril Ramaphosa has challenged members of the Pan-African Parliament not to shy away from discussing the issue of migration. Addressing the opening of the Parliament's 7th legislature, the President was firmly focused on responding to some of the burning issues on the continent, while Parliament's new President Fateh Boudbek urged MPs to focus on delivering results.
Now, by hosting this Pan-African Parliament and through our humble contribution to African unity, to integration, to peace and security, we affirm our profound conviction that South Africa's future is inseparable from the future of our beloved African continent. The Pan-African Parliament is a pillar of Africa's democratic architecture. As you all sit here, you must know that we all see you as representing that pillar. This Parliament gives expression to the voice of the peoples of Africa. It reinforces our shared commitment to democratic governance, constitutionalism, the rule of law, and the respect for human rights. As elected representatives of our continent and of our people, you have a unique responsibility as members of this Parliament to strengthen accountable institutions, to promote transparency, and to ensure that the aspirations of the African Union are translated into tangible improvements in the lives of the people of Africa.
In your sports news, South African women's football coach Desiree Ellis says that she expects the first Women's Africa Cup of Nations with 16 teams to be the most difficult ever. Banyana Banyana, who won the tournament in 2022, should at least finish in the top 2 in their group to advance to the next round of the 2026 edition in Morocco. Banyana, who are in Group B, opened their account against Tanzania in Casablanca tonight.
Banyana Banyana are back in Morocco, where they won the WAFCON tournament 4 years ago and are determined to reclaim the crown. They were undefeated in 2022, winning all 6 matches in the process. But 2 years later, they had to settle for 4th place. And Ellis says this year's tournament will be an even bigger challenge.
It just shows how serious everybody's taking this tournament, and now that the tournament is 16, there's no margin for error. You know, in the past you could qualify as the best 3rd place as well. Now just the top 2 qualify, so the first game of the tournament is very, very important.
Banyana Banyana captain Refilwe Jane says the team is raring to go.
We've acclimatized, we've had a quite number of sessions, and we've been preparing very well. Luckily, we've been training early mornings, and now we are training late in the evenings, preparing for our match times.
Jane agrees with the fact that this year's tournament will be extremely tough.
I usually say this will be one of the most difficult tournaments ever. You look at the number of teams that are increased and the teams that are in the tournament. It's not just easy teams to play against. And also it's a World Cup qualifying tournament.
South Africa's second match is against Ivory Coast on Friday before they conclude their group campaign against Burkina Faso next Tuesday. Sfiso Ramara, SABC News.
From the sporting grounds to climate talk, it is now time for us to gaze up to our southern skies to see what magic they hold. And our weather experts are on standby with all the details you need. Your forecast is coming up next.
Thank you very much and a very warm welcome to the Weather Desk. Time for us to look at those conditions over the country. Now, we do have a cold front that's been dropping temperatures significantly behind it over the certain parts of the country and causing this 60% chance of showers and rain just isolated over the interior of the Eastern Cape and Western Cape. It is going to be a cloudy day over the Western Cape for tomorrow. That is because of that cold front moves away. We do have a steep trough for tonight that will develop into a cut-off low and also causes rainy conditions that we're seeing over most of the country, talking up to 80% chance of showers and thunder showers. That is widespread showers and thunder showers over the interior of the Eastern Cape, stretching towards KwaZulu-Natal, and also some rainy conditions as we move towards the Eastern Cape and Western Cape for tomorrow. Looking at our warnings for tonight, we're expecting a level 1 warning of damaging winds and waves as we move towards the coast. We're talking wind speed of up to 50 kilometers per hour, can gust up to 60 kilometers per hour, and also expecting up to level 6 warning of disruptive rainfall, which will lead to flooding over the interior of the Eastern Cape, stretching all the way towards the interior of KwaZulu-Natal. So please, let's be careful over those areas. Looking at our provinces in detail for Gauteng, it is going to be a warm day over Pretoria. We're expecting a high of 24. Cool conditions over Johannesburg with a high of 21. It is a warm day over Musina, stretching towards Thohoyandou all the way into Giyani, with the Giyani at 24. Polokwane, relatively cool and cold in the morning, starting off 8, peaking at 22. Cool conditions persisting into Mpumalanga for tomorrow. Emelo at 18. Emalahleni at a high of 21. Bombela, maximum of 23. Flooding is expected over the interior of KwaZulu-Natal because of those rainy conditions. It is a cool day with a high of 17. Durban at 20. Richards Bay at 22. Do remember, because of that cut-off flow and that cold front, it is windy over the coastal areas over the Eastern Cape for tomorrow. Relatively cool over Qabecha with a high of 50. Maletswai starting off at 5, peaking at 19. Moving towards the Western Cape, also expecting mostly cool conditions over that province. Cape Town at 18, moving towards the Northern Cape. It is a warm day over Appleton with a high of 27. Kimberley at 25. Free State also expecting cool conditions. Bloemfontein at 21. 21 also being a high over Bethlehem. And lastly, over the Northwest Province for tomorrow, Rustenburg at a maximum of 24. Also expecting a warm day as we move towards Tosca, Vryburg, and also Taung with an average of 24. That's all the weather I have for you. Stay tuned.
That is a wrap for this evening. We thank you for your audience. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow for more of the global updates you need. Until then, from myself, Becky, and the team, it is good night.